Dustin, let's head to Tipico here, and this is a deal in which I don't know. Did it come out of left field for you?
Pretty out of left field.
Yeah.
And again, if we do these podcasts right after things happen, I'd be far angry, and I'm still angry about this one, I guess. But yeah, so here's what happened. Just randomly, Adam and all of us got a press release from Tipico saying they are the quote unquote official sports betting partner of the 2023 MAAC men's and women's basketball championships. So I think some of our listeners would probably have a hard time naming a school in the MAAC, but even though
Manhattan Jaspers, baby.
and St. Peter's is a MAAC school. Anyway, this was a weird one because literally everything we've been talking about on this podcast, I'd say, and in the sports betting industry in general is, let's stop finding ways for people to pick apart the industry. Let's stop. And one of those is doing college partnerships with colleges. Yes, this isn't directly a college partnership. This is with a conference and its championship, whatever. But let's stop that. We have bills in Maryland and New York now specifically addressing this and not letting it happen. Again, it just seems borderline nuts to me that we are just sitting here saying, "Oh, let's do deals between colleges and sports books." And we've only had a handful of these over several years now. And I'd say that probably points to the fact that we've had some restraint from both colleges and sports books from entering into more of these. We had the high profile one with Caesars and LSU. We have had Colorado and PointsBet and Maryland. There's been a handful of these out there. And I think everybody thought like, okay, maybe we shouldn't be doing these anymore. It was like maybe hindsight's 2020. Yes, we did these deals. Maybe we shouldn't do anymore. And then all of a sudden, Tipico, which we don't talk about a whole lot, but has a very small amount of in a very few states, a very small amount of market share, comes out and just like blows this idea up and says, "Oh, we're going to do a college betting partnership." Like, there's nobody who thinks this is a good idea. Let's also add on to that. The MAAC tournament is in Atlantic City, where you can't bet on this tournament or any of the teams in New Jersey. I don't know. Let's take apart the responsible gambling and regulatory part of this out of this is inane. Like you're going to sign up people at this tournament and they can't bet on the tournament. I guess they think it's going to get people betting on March Madness. I don't know. Again, hire any of us as a consultant and we'll tell you this was the most ham-handed idea in the world. And please, I implore everyone to stop doing these deals.
So, Adam, if we take a look at this and yes, we when the individual team stuff started coming out, we were kind of it seems like a slippery slope and whatever and all that. But at least if there was a league, we'll go to the LSU deal, right? For example, there's at least the SEC that is still a regulatory body over LSU to where they could come in and say hey man, what are y'all doing? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now when it's actually with the conference itself, it kind of takes away any sort of checks and balances type situation of someone kind of lording over that. It's just a very, very interesting deal when we're going from, which we don't even really love the whole individual team thing. Now we're taking that an even step further and it's over the entire conference. To me, it's so wild.
This seems to be the rare deal where I don't really get what either side gains from it, right? What is the purpose of this partnership for either one of the entities involved in it? Dustin just laid out what the MAAC, and we have to be very clear, it's not the MAAC, it's the MAAC, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Shout out to Fran Fraschilla and me going to the Manhattan Jaspers basketball camp when I was 14 years old. Best rebounder in the camp right here, as awarded by Fran Fraschilla. Thank you. I did not wager on any games at the time, not in our camp games, MAAC games throughout the season. And they're now talking about going and having people sign up for games they can't bet on there. So you lose the immediacy of being able to get people immediately into the app. You bring up the whole issue of not being able to bet on in-state teams like the St. Peter's run to the Elite Eight last year. And then on the other side of this, how much money would be enough if you were the Metro Atlantic to make this PR hit okay?
Because I was actually literally about to ask you that. Is what do we think the terms are? What can the terms even be for this? That's literally was going to be my follow-up to you.
I don't look what an equity stake in Tipico that'll be good for the next 2 years before they fold. I don't know what the deal is. And by the way, this is not the only weird partnership news we've gotten from Tipico, I actually said to our colleagues in the chat that they're kind of leading the league in weird partnerships right now. I think there was one with Top Golf, if I'm not mistaken, where one particular bar at a Top Golf in Ohio was named after Tipico. Like, it feels like we're dialing the clock back 4 years to when people were just throwing partnership money around. So this idea is regressive in multiple ways, right? It goes back to what I just said there. And also, as Dustin said, we talked last week about college campuses not being marketed to by sportsbooks seems to be the one place where everyone can get together on this. Maryland is going against the grain on this. New York is going against the grain on this. Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut in the United States Senate is going against this. And then we get this deal sort of out of left field. And I'll punctuate my thoughts on this with one thing. So, Dustin, you talked about getting the press release. I also got the press release. We ran a story on that deal by the end of the day. I got the same press release pitched to me the next day saying, hey, if you guys are interested in covering this. So they're not even watching to see if they got the value out of the story.
It's so, yeah, like you could give all this, like maybe they're playing 4D chess and like people are going to be talking about Tipico because of this. And no, they don't even know that we're talking about it. So
that's, look, when I saw this, I'm just sitting here and the first thing that popped in my mind, it actually jumped. I know that the first thing that came to mind was like, oh, this is just like, what are they thinking? The first thing that popped in my mind was like, what could the financial terms of this be? Anyway, that was actually the first thing that came to mind. It wasn't even like, oh my God, I'm frowning upon this. It was more of the like, how many dollars can actually even be attached to this? Like, I don't even, I don't get it. Is there some sort of super secret, like multi-billionaire behind this that we don't know about?
Could you imagine, let's make this even worse. Let's imagine they're getting like a sign up fee every time somebody signs up at the tournament. Like, it's probably a flat fee, I guess. We don't know the terms, but like, that would be maybe the worst. And again, again, I know this is a conference tournament, plenty of adults to this thing, but most of the players on the court under 21. There's going to be tons of students from all these schools also under 21. Let's just stop. There's whatever you're getting that's good out of this, which is almost nothing, is offset by the potential. Like, again, us sitting here, we're not that important, but enough people. We saw enough reaction from this that this was widely said this is a dumb idea, so just stop.
Adam, we've been talking about Massachusetts, it seems like, for about 7 years on this pod and what's going on in the sports betting world with them, but we do know it is going to be launching. It's going to be launching any day now. And what are we looking at here from Massachusetts when we go live?
Well, we're looking at it being tomorrow as we record here on Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern launch time. We started this process, as you mentioned, sometime around the first Bush administration. And now we look at it and see that as we've gotten closer, it's actually been a dwindling number of sports books that are going to be ready at the launch. We're only going to have 6 that launch on day one. There are 10 that are approved. We already saw that 2 of them pulled back out entirely in Bet365 and PointsBet. And now we just found out this week that Better, the Jake Paul micro betting site, is going to be hopefully launching sometime in April, according to them. So we've had meetings damn near every day in Massachusetts, seemingly for like 2 months now. I think we've had the launch officially approved, although I've never really heard that it's definitely going to happen. Like, the Massachusetts Gaming Commission has just sort of said, this is our suggested date, and we're going to meet damn near every day until the launch date comes up. And we might tell you at 9:59 tomorrow morning, hey, we're pushing it back, but it doesn't seem that way at this point, especially when you consider the fact that March Madness is about to start in earnest next week. RIP Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. Came close, guys. Good run.